Alright, so I just want to do sort of an overview here on how to install glue-down flooring. I'm going to go through all the steps involved so you can see whether or not you want to tackle it or not. It's not a difficult job, and I'm going to show you all about that coming up right now. Alright, so we're in a new construction home, and as you would expect, there's stuff all over the floor. Drywall, mud, glue, whatever it might be. It needs to be scraped off really good. The smallest little anything is going to show up in your new floor. Next thing you'll want to do is take a screwdriver and kind of go through any of your expansion joints that you might see and just run the screwdriver or scraping tool right through there and vacuum it out really good. Next, you'll want to vacuum the floors. Now this is only just a preliminary vacuum. We're going to be doing each section as we go, but you'll want to do like a whole overview of the vacuum all over all the floors. Alright, so this stuff here is called Ardex Feather Finish. Now this is the stuff I'm using. We're just going to mix up a small amount in a cup with some water. Basically, it's just a form of hydraulic cement. We're going to use this to spread in our expansion joints to fill those up. Whatever chips you might find in the concrete, any rough areas where it wasn't finished very smooth from the finishers, any low spots that are visible. I've even seen people take a skim coat and go over the entire floor, but that's not going to be necessary in my case. So here's the floor after it's totally prepped, after all the troublesome areas are leveled out. But we're going to snap a chalk line about 4 rows out, and this will give us a nice straight line for a starter row. Alright, next we're ready to start spreading out the glue. Now no matter which glue you go with, it'll have the trowel requirements on the can somewhere. We're just using this Ultra Bond glue that came from Lowe's. We're going to spread out the glue about an inch past the chalk line. Now this will give us an area that we don't have to glue right up to the new flooring when we start the next row. Alright, so we got that first section all troweled in. Now you're going to want to let this dry for a good half an hour or more. This glue will turn almost a clear color when it's ready to go. Now if you want to speed things up a little bit, you can add a fan to it, and that will definitely help. And how you tell if the glue is dry is you'll put your finger in there and touch it, and it should feel tacky, but it really doesn't get on your finger, and then you know it's ready. Now here we're laying our first row right up against the chalk line. We're going to work backwards towards the wall. Now you want this first row as straight as possible. Make sure it's right on that chalk line, because this sets the stage for the whole job. Alright, next we're just going to lay in a piece. Now you'll kind of want to get one corner in place and then the end, and then slowly work your way down the piece until it lays perfectly with the other pieces already in place. And just kind of go over it with your hand and kind of flatten it out, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now once you get to an end, you're going to need to cut a piece to fit. Just lay your piece in to be cut right on top of the existing piece. That way you can see where to mark it. Now once you have cut it, you're going to want to put the cut edge toward the wall. I guess that goes without saying. Alright, so I like to cut these pieces with a framing square. The framing square lays flatter against the flooring than a speed square does. Now you're going to want to just bring it up to your line and score it with a razor knife a few times. And hang it over the edge and break it. Now you might need to cut it again from the bottom if this little trick doesn't work. If you're finding any value in this video, please click that like button below and subscribe to this channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Okay, so back to the video. And we'll go ahead and install our cut piece, remembering to keep the cut edge against the wall. Now keep in mind that most of the time you can use the cutoff for these to start the next row. This will help to randomize your pieces. Don't be tempted to cut off 6 inches and make a bunch of starter pieces that way that have a pattern. Random is always going to look better. Now we started right here on this wall because it was approximately in the middle of the house. There's still a whole nother half of the house that we haven't really done much to yet. Now if you're just doing one room, you'll probably want to start in the middle and work yourself toward each wall, although you might want to check and see how that's going to work out, because you don't want a half-inch sliver to wind up on each end of the house. So if that happens, you'll have to adjust accordingly. Alright, so I like to work in sections. Now I've struck another line about 6 rows out. You can go 8 rows or 10 rows or whatever you're comfortable with. Now you'll want to vacuum this section again to make sure you get every little nook and cranny out of there. However you do it, you'll want to make sure not to trap yourself in. Now we can go around in the kitchen on this job, that way we don't have to walk across the glue. Alright, so we're down to the last row just doing the same things I've been showing you. Now when you come across doors and stuff like that, just know you'll have to undercut those and anything else that might be in the way. Now the oscillating tool is my favorite tool for this job. It works very well. Sometimes you'll even have to make some pretty creative pieces to get things to fit right. It just all depends on the job. Alright, so I got the last row in. Now if you have a roller, that's going to be your best bet to try to press everything down really nice and even. You can also use a tile grout float. Now that'll press pretty evenly. Or you can use your hand like I showed you earlier. Or you can just do what this guy is doing and walking the floor, kind of flattening it all out with his shoes. You'll want to do something to make sure it's all pressed in real nice and even. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.